In the Money is made possible by financial support from Old National Bank and Chicagoans like you. Thank you.
Good evening, Chicago, and welcome to In the Money. I'm your host, Tamara Durbin. As a financial literacy advocate and educator, I've always understood why it's important to have clear financial vision and goals. But as a widow and a mom to a teenage son, I've also learned firsthand the how life's unexpected storms can challenge those goals, and why it's essential to keep visualizing the financial future you desire year after year. When we talk about building a financial life we love, we're really talking about achieving financial freedom. But let's be real, staying focused on that vision isn't always easy. Life can throw curveballs. Even when it doesn't, we find ourselves distracted by the pull of a consumer-driven society. Social media doesn't make it any easier, constantly dropping ads, trends, and must-have items into our feeds, making us think we need to buy something new or visit the next hot destination. Trust me, I've been there. But here's what I've learned. Step by step, year by year, the financial life I once dreamed of has gradually become my reality. It hasn't been without challenges or distractions, but with the help of God and by staying diligent, focused, and committed to the process, I've made progress, even through life's toughest storms. On this week's episode, we're back here in the lab. My hope is that wherever you are on your financial journey, this episode inspires you to envision a clearer, brighter, and even higher vision for your financial future. We'll also break it down into practical steps to help you craft a solid financial plan for 2025 and set achievable goals that bring you closer to the financial life you deserve. After the break, I'll be joined by financial advisor Terrell Wilson to discuss smart moves to make at the start of the year to set yourself up for financial success, not just for this year, but for the years to come. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. Did you know that the Cook County Criminal Court was the first place in the nation to recognize that young people should not be treated the same as grown-ups? On the next In Other News, we'll talk about Restore Justice with Wendell Robinson and Brian Beals. Join the conversation on CAN TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Hyper-local news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Welcome back. My first guest is Terrell Wilson, financial advisor for Edward Jones. Welcome to In the Money, Terrell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to jump right in.
Okay.
Starting out, we're talking about, envisioning the financial life we love. Mm-hmm. Can you share a story or a piece of your financial journey that has helped you create the financial life that you love?
Yeah, sure. So one that comes to mind is an interaction that I had with my grandfather when I was a young man. And, he and I would have numerous conversations around wealth management and planning and budgeting. And it really came about because I'd always try to borrow some money.
People don't like that B word.
Don't, right?
Go ahead.
I always be trying to borrow money from granddad. But eventually, through conversations, through him and I just interacting and him showing me really some of those steps of things that I needed to do to get my financial house in order, that's what really helped me to kind of build that foundation to start where I am right now, or to get to where I am today, should I say.
Oh, that's good. Did he ever see you become actually in the financial arena?
Yes.
He must have been
He's
so
alive
proud.
and well. He's 88 years old right now, and it's a blessing. But yeah, and he always talked to us about real estate and investing and putting our money to work. And so, yeah,
that's good when your family helps craft what your actual financial vision is for your life.
Yeah.
So that's a gift.
I agree.
So we're starting the new year, and I know that it's always a great time to reassess or even refresh our finances. Why do you think the new year is such a perfect opportunity to actually do a financial reset?
So a couple of things. I think initially it's an opportunity to reset, right? It's an opportunity to take a look at what you've done and what you've accomplished throughout the year, to review some of the goals that you've had. And so typically, we're making that recommendation of let's go through and see what goals did you have last year or that you wanted to accomplish for the year. How many did you accomplish? How many did you not accomplish? And then what were some of the reasons as to why, right? And so we want to reassess those things that we were not able to accomplish and then reevaluate and then continue to move forward from there.
That's good that you look at, okay, let's see what the blockages or the reasons that you didn't accomplish certain goals so we can make adjustments. Speaking of the B word, the budget word, how can someone use the new year to evaluate their budget? Are there specific steps they should be taking to look at or make their budget more effective? And also in the context of that, like, what should people be thinking about as far as if they do have debt, if they want to save, how should they incorporate all of that into their budget?
Yeah, so I think first, everyone needs to take a deep breath, right? Okay. When we talk about budgeting, it's okay, right? It's not the end of the world, but it certainly is the first step in creating a financial future. So one thing that I often speak about is that 50-30-20 rule, right? And that's where 50% of income is going towards things that are absolutely necessary. So in other words, the needs. 30% is going towards the wants and 20% is going towards savings.
Now, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a couple examples of the needs versus wants? Because sometimes people, sometimes people don't necessarily, sometimes we get it mixed up of what really is a need versus a want. So can you give us an example?
So simply I'd say a need would be your mortgage, your rent. Right? The car note. Housing expenses, absolutely. Okay. Those are need. Food, clothing, those things are a need. A want is just that. It's things that maybe going to the movies or doing things that you want to do from a financial perspective, right? So it doesn't have to necessarily be something major, but it's certainly not the things that are necessary.
What about subscriptions?
Well, yeah, those are certainly wants.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay, I'm sorry, but go ahead. So the 20% you were going with savings. Okay.
So and then savings, of course. Now, you mentioned debt, right? So depending on where the individual is in their financial life, we like to look at either 30% being, like I said, the wants, and that 20 being savings. But depending on where they are, we may switch that percentage, right? So we may need to put 30% towards savings, and then 20% will go towards those things that are ancillary or things that are wants that they just want to do.
Okay, so you're taking from the wants to add to the goal of maybe getting out of debt.
Correct.
There you go.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yep. That's actually really good advice. So I want to ask you this question. The new year is a good time typically for people to think about the future. How should people approach retirement planning or investing if they've never started before?
So first, I think about what's my savings rate, right? And it also depends on your age. So if you're younger, we're looking at 15%, right? It's the general norm of what we want to be saving towards the retirement goal. As you get older, and if you start later, of course, that 15% then becomes 20, 25, so on and so forth. So I think it's really taking a step back, looking at what's my current savings rate, how am I saving, what vehicles am I saving that in, meaning is it a 401k, is it an IRA, is it in my local bank savings account, things like that. Another one that I think about as I'm thinking through your question is years ago, there used to be a commercial, and I forget the firm that had it, but it was like that bouncing ball that said what's your number, right? And where do you want to retire? How much money do you need in your retirement accounts to get there?
Financial vision.
Yep. And so that's good, right? To know that, hey, I need 2 million or 3 million or $1 million, whatever that number is, in order to get to your financial goal. But I like to look at how much money or income do you need while in retirement to have the lifestyle you want to have. Right, so it's a little bit different.
Creating the life you love. This is what we're talking about. Yes.
Yes. So when you can drill down to, I need, I don't know, just to throw a number, I need $50,000 a year to live the life I live, take the vacations and spend time with grandkids and all those wonderful things you want to do while in retirement. So then we will plan specifically for that.
Now, this is a quick question. Okay. For those who are already investing, what should they do at the beginning of the year to make sure their portfolio is actually in good shape?
I'd say review the portfolio, review the initial investments, and review the weightings of the individual investments that you have as well. The new year is a good time to consider, do I need to be rebalancing my portfolio? Do I need to keep things a status quo? Do I need to make some changes? Are there some investments in my portfolio that I just aren't performing well and that I need to remove, and then particularly add something else additional to that? So it's really taking that step back, taking that time, reviewing the portfolio, making sure that it's also meeting the ultimate goal as well.
Yeah, so don't set it and forget it.
Do not, no.
So this is going to be my last question for you. I would like for you to speak to the viewers that are maybe in different stages in their life, whether early career, mid-career, at or near retirement, maybe even in retirement. What are some things that in these stages they should be doing to really create the financial life they love?
So I think about someone that is in that earlier stage of their career, right? Typically, they need to manage debt. They need to manage maybe student loans, right? They need to manage a budget, right? They're starting to invest for retirement. So that person, I would want them to really be focusing in on where is my money going, right, on a daily basis or a monthly basis. And then someone that's in mid-career, things are changing now. You probably have a family now. You've got to think about things like life insurance and protection for your family. Also, retirement planning. Am I saving enough to meet the need that I'll have when I'm in retirement? And then the person that is kind of in that later stage of career, we're starting to think more around like wealth management strategies around estate planning, making sure we have the right things in place and that we're passing funds over to the family members that we want to actually receive the assets that we build up.
Thank you, Terrell, for your wisdom and tips.
Yeah, my pleasure.
After a quick break, I'll be joined by financial expert Jill Thompson to continue the conversation. In the Money continues on the other side of a short break. Stay with us.
I'm Andy Zopp, the host of Chicago Newsroom 2.0. Every week, we gather for insightful conversations with local journalists and community leaders as we discuss the news of the day and how it impacts the lives of Chicagoans. Join the conversation on CAN-TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN-TV Plus app. Hyperlocal news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Joining the conversation is Jill Thompson, financial expert. Welcome to In the Money, Jill.
Thank you, Tamara, for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. So, we're talking about financial vision and creating the life that you love. Can you share a story or a piece of your financial journey that's helped you create the life you love or financial freedom with our viewers?
Sure. So for me, I'll tell you the honest truth. My financial vision started with a budget. I know it's that one word that most people really don't like to talk about.
They don't like to talk about it.
But you know what? It took years for me to truly understand the power of a budget. Because at first, initially, I thought it was just more of trying to restrict myself of things I could not have, what I couldn't do. But what I didn't realize is that the budget actually liberates you to do the things that you want.
Yes.
Because it's that precursor that allows you to stick to what you said you're going to do. And anytime you're going outside of those numbers, the budget brings you right back on point.
Yeah.
So I appreciate a budget because, too, when I initially started, I started with maybe $5,000. I had a goal to try to pay off some student loan debts, as well as get out of debt. And so my budget allowed me to do those things, as well as now I've created additional income where now I can invest in things that create financial freedom for me.
That's what the thing people don't understand is that your budget is really your yes document. It's telling you, yes, this is what you can do and also achieve your goals, but you have to stick to it. So I love that you started with a good story about a budget. So we're talking about financial freedom, and you mentioned that. What really, we say the word, we talk about it, but what really is financial freedom? Can you really break that down to help people visualize what that actually practically really looks like?
Well, I would say practically financial freedom looks like living the life that you want, stress-free of money. So, financial freedom for a person who's maybe nearing retirement could just be having enough to make sure that they can outlive or living through their retirement income. For someone else, financial freedom could be being debt-free. Another person, it could be a family who's like, hey, we just want to save enough money to actually travel and see the world in the way in which we want. And so that picture looks different. It just depends on the person. And so you have to figure out within you what's important to you and allow that to be your cursor to say, this is the goal that I'm moving towards. And by me doing this and setting the budgets in place or creating the financial vision for myself, I know I'll achieve my goal.
Do you think having a financial vision is something everyone can have, no matter what their income level is?
Of course. Of course. So having a financial vision is something everyone can start at every phase of their life. Whether you're a teenager and maybe it's saving up for your first car, whether you're in your mid-20s and now I really want you to start thinking about retirement. Or whether it's an actual career professional and you're like, hey, I'm just trying to make sure that I have enough money to pay off a home when I get into retirement. And so whatever that is for you, that financial freedom and creating that vision for yourself, I think where most people miss it is oftentimes when we think about setting financial goals, we think that it's something that can't be attainable or achievable. But goals can be small and large. That's what I want people to know. So sometimes I could say my goal is to save $5,000, but I created a SMART goal. I've specifically said the amount I need is $5,000. Now I haven't set the time frame. I'll say if I say I want to save $5,000 within 12 months, now I've made a goal that's specific, it's measurable. Is it attainable? Well, that's based on what your current income is or whatever your financial situation is. Is it reasonable and is it time bound? By me doing that, now I can then put precursors in place where I can say I can divide that $5,000 up over the next 12 months. So now what once was a large goal, $5,000 that seemed so far away, is now broken down into bite-sized pieces where I feel like every month I can achieve this goal till I get to my ultimate goal of $5,000.
I hope everyone caught that. Can you just say that really quickly, that SMART goals?
Sure. So you want to make sure you create SMART goals.
So you want it to be specific, measurable,
attainable, reasonable, and time-bound.
And you gave an example. You said $5,000. Let's say if you wanted to save, or even it's a debt goal, $5,000
within 12
months.
And that could be towards paying off a debt.
And make it specific. So make it specific to the specific debt that it is. So if it's specifically a credit card, make it specific. If it's specifically student loans, make it specific because those things help you to actually achieve those goals. So some viewers may be living paycheck to paycheck, and they might feel like they don't really have any room, even when we talk about these goals, to save or to go toward debt. What would you recommend to those individuals?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I love the paycheck to paycheck person. I myself was a paycheck to paycheck person. You know why I was? Because I didn't create a budget. I didn't realize I had so many spending leaks. Whether they were Netflix subscriptions, I had Wall Street Journal, Cranes, you name it. Literally, money was just coming out of my pockets and I didn't realize it. And then I had to say, you know what? What can I do to change? What can I get rid of? What to want? What to need? Do I really need all of these subscriptions? And how can I change and how can I adjust? Another thing, by me actually creating the budget, I could actually see where there were deficits, where there's opportunities, and then also where there's moments where I can also adjust my spending. So let's just say, for instance, I don't necessarily need to have the lights on all day long. Maybe we can turn off the lights. You don't need to run things all day long. Like there are certain things that we can do that are just inherently in us that we do as habits, but those are the very things that are causing funds to actually leak out of our pockets.
Yeah. So this is going to be my last question. Thank you for that advice. So we've been talking about setting these goals, and I know everyone is going to be excited about starting these goals, and they're going to start strong in January. But sometimes we lose focus by the time we get to March. What one piece of advice could you give people to actually stay motivated to actually see their goals through to the end of the year?
So I would say start with the large goal. Start with your larger goal. What's the end goal? And so make sure that your goal is set for the year. What's something you can actually attain within that year? And then after you get that large goal, similar to the conversation that we had earlier where we talked about the $5,000, break that goal up into 12 months. Make it attainable. Can you actually complete that within the first month and hit your first month goal, your second month goal until you get to the $5,000 amount? And if so, that helps you achieve your goal.
Yeah. That's good advice, because if you break that goal down, start small, you can actually, as you continue to start and you keep going, you can actually just keep going if you just don't stop. So
consistency is key.
I
think the one thing that people need to remember when it comes to money, it's not a sprint. It's truly a marathon. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So the more consistent you are and the more disciplined you are, the better off your finances will be.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jill, for your wisdom and your tips. I know our audience is going to be inspired and empowered by our episode today.
Thank you.
On the other side of the break, our in-house financial education expert, Ben Juergens, returns live in studio with an all-new Money Matters. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Robin Robinson. Did you know that the Cook County Criminal Court was the first place in the nation to recognize that young people should not be treated the same as grown-ups? On the next In Other News, we'll talk about Restore Justice with Wendell Robinson and Brian Beals. Join the conversation on CAN TV Cable Channel 19 or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app. Hyper-local news and critical analysis. Experience the power of community television.
Joining me now for this week's Money Matters is Old National Bank's Director of Financial Empowerment, Ben Juergens. Welcome back, Ben.
Thanks, Tamara. It's good to be here.
Good to have you. To continue the conversation of financial vision and goal setting, I would love to discuss with you the benefits of having financial vision and financial goals. So we're going to jump right in, Ben.
Perfect.
How can setting financial goals really empower individuals to make informed financial decisions?
You know, Tamara, I think a lot of people set goals outside of finances very easily, right? Now, I mean, like if you're getting married, you don't just show up at wedding day and everything happens, right? People know you got to book all these things to happen. But when it comes to finances, it seems like people they live their life and they just hopefully everything's going to work out. And I think this is where really setting those smart financial goals that was mentioned, you know, specific, measurable, attainable, the result-oriented and time-driven. Because when you do that, you're holding yourself kind of accountable to get something done. And even if it's small or large, I just think it's so important to do that so we can actually hit that end goal, because you and I know it's not just going to all work out in the end.
Yes, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because people they set, let's say, wedding, weight loss, goals, and they actually work them. But finances, for some reason, I feel like we don't want to have that accountability.
Exactly. I'll get retirement from Social Security and be good to go, right? I mean, we expect some of those things.
But then when they find out how much that really is, they're like, oh, wait a minute, I should have been investing for this.
Yeah, hopefully we still have it, right? Yeah.
And speaking of that, that kind of actually leads into my next question. With the way our current economy is right now, a lot of people are kind of feeling the pinch. There's a lot of uncertainty, there are rising prices, and people really just don't know what's going to happen. But when it comes to setting financial goals and creating a plan for the future, how can we factor in things, especially those things that we can't control and we can't predict? Do you have any practical advice, tips, strategies to account for that?
And I think there's some misconceptions out there, like people want all these prices to come down. We're probably not going to see that, right? That would be deflation, which would be horrible for the economy, right? But I think what we want to see is the rate that prices go up decrease, right? We don't want to see them go up so fast. So what we can do to predict, or not predict, but really kind of be on the other side of it, is look at things that are going to earn us more money down the road, right? So, you know, my basic savings isn't going to pay a high interest rate, right? And if we have inflation at, say, 5% and I get an increase in my job of 3%, I'm losing 2% of my money that year. The only way to combat that, in my opinion, is go through the investment side, where you can have the potential to earn more income. And things like 401k and meeting with an advisor, they can put a strategy in place for you to help you kind of combat inflation. So if we do continue to see prices rise, that's going to help you in the long run.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's really what you're giving people is strategy.
Yeah.
Strategy that no matter what's happening, you have something in place that help you to be actually really ahead of the game.
Yeah, and you're taking your emotional side out of it, right? You're trusting that long-term process.
Yeah. So we're talking about goals. What's the number one financial goal that you see people that they make it and they actually accomplish it?
I think it's kind of a caveat there. So I think one is saving for retirement. I'm just going to throw that out there. But most companies opt in people, right? So it's kind of forced retirement savings. The bad part of that is I don't see people saving at the rate that they should, right? So it's that annual increase of 1% every year, to try to get to that 15%. I see that as one of the ones that people do accomplish, maybe not at the rate that they should be at, but at least they're on a path to do something. And then I see tackling small debts. When they utilize the SMART goal methodology, it really does help.
It does help.
And even though I prefer to go with the highest interest rate, tackling any debt is good. We want to get out of that debt.
Yeah. So really quickly.
Yeah.
I got to ask you to do a dad joke.
Oh, sure.
So the word I'm going to give you is banking, since you're in the banking industry.
Okay. Well, I would say, if you're not into this banking terminology, right, you're not alone. So, I'm going to tie in a loan there, Tamara. I'll withdraw that one, so we'll be good.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
Thanks, man. On the other side of the break, we'll close out the show with this week's Money Moment. We're back in 30 seconds.
CAN TV is the lens through which Chicago's stories are told, harnessing the unifying power of community television. With CAN TV On Demand, immerse yourself in the richness of our city through exclusive stories and programs tailored just for you, connecting you to the heartbeats of our streets, the voices of our people, and the spirit that makes Chicago unique. Discover the strength of your community on CAN TV On Demand.
When you have clear vision and take deliberate action to bring that vision to life, it unlocks doors to financial freedom that you might not have even imagined. Let me share a small story that a friend recently shared with me. In 2023, she heard my tips about saving for the holidays and not letting Christmas become a budget buster. Her vision was simple: to remain generous during the holidays, but without the financial stress. She acted on that vision by saving $5 a day and putting it into an online high-yield savings account. By the end of 2024, she has saved over $1,900. But here's the amazing part. Through responsible credit card use, she also accumulated enough points to buy the gifts she planned using those rewards instead of the cash she had saved. Her vision, combined with disciplined execution, gave her the freedom to enjoy the holidays without financial strain. That's the power of discipline. It unlocks freedom. So here's your reminder. Write the vision, make it plain, and run with it. The appointed time is now. So here are your action steps from today's episode. Number 1, visualize the financial life you want. Whether it's being debt-free, having savings for peace of mind, building investments, or creating multiple streams of income, take the time to imagine what your ideal financial future looks like. Number 2, set clear financial goals for 2025. These goals will guide your steps and keep you on track toward your vision. Number 3, seek professional help if you need it. Don't let your hard-earned resources slip through your fingers. Work with professionals to ensure your money is working as hard as you are. No matter where you are on your financial journey, I hope today's episode has helped you see your vision more clearly. When you can see it, you'll find the determination and encouragement to pursue it. Join us next week as we're back in the lab and also taking a trip out in real life to discuss the why behind our budgeting and the rewards of financial discipline. We'll also be back with an all-new episode of Money Matters with Ben Juergens. If you have any questions about today's topic or any financial question, send them to me. Email me at tamara@moneybasicsonline.com or follow me on Instagram at IamMoneyBasics. Also, follow my guests on social media. I would love to keep this conversation going on social media, so hit me up. Remember, we are on this journey together to get, stay, and grow in the money. See you next time.